Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome to my channel today once again, and I'm particularly very excited to notice you viewing this video. I am Dr. Olayinka Conley. I am a lecturer in the university. I am a researcher. I'm a life coach. I'm a public speaker. On this channel, I do a number of stuff. These stuffs I do, you may easily cluster them into sociology, research, relationship, and migration. All this I do, and I release the content as regularly as possible to add value to my subscribers and my viewers. If today is your first time of coming in contact with my videos, kindly subscribe to this channel. It means a lot. Kindly comment, like, and share, and inform others about this channel. And if you have subscribed to this channel previously, thank you very much for staying tuned. Kindly comment, like, and share. Today, I will be addressing a different title: Social change in sociology. Social change in sociology. Sociologists are very interested in social change. In fact, it's a central component of the discipline sociology. So societies go through change or changes over time, and sociologists want to understand the nature, the processes, the pattern, the trends, the consequences of these changes in society. No society is entirely static, because they say change is actually the most constant thing in life. And if you don't understand the nature and the patterns and processes, consequences, causes of change in society, then that society is going to have serious fundamental problems. So sociologists within the confine of social change want to understand how societies continue to transform in fundamental ways through the patterns of interaction and relationships of people in those societies. Sociologists study social change through understanding social interaction, social relationship, and how these social relationship and interaction, human behaviors, affect transformation of culture and social institutions of those society. Don't forget, I once dropped a video on this channel where I talked about culture. What is culture? Culture, now, we are looking within the confine of social change. We want to look at the total ways of life of group of people in societies, how they relate, how they interact, how they behave within their cultural environment, and how this, in the short, medium, and long run, affect the transformation of the culture and their social institutions. Because this is the only way we can see change. We can understand change within the confine from the perspective of sociology. Is the change progressive? Is it regressive or retrogressive? Or is it just cyclical? So all of this, and this can only be understood with human action. So sociologists want to understand social change through the application of principles, concepts, theories, methodologies, perspectives, paradigms of sociology. So we simply adopt concepts, principles, philosophies, methodologies, theories, perspectives of sociology in understanding society, so we can understand the nature and patterns and consequences and causes of the change. So social change is very central to us in sociology. And we want to start to understand this. We want to look at different theoretical perspectives in understanding this. And it's very important for you to know that social change must actually be taken seriously, because it's through social change that you have social development, socioeconomic development. When you say a country is poor, how has it transformed over time to remain in poverty or to become poor? When you say a country is developed, has it always been developed? How has it moved historically, comparatively to the current situation of development? I did a video on this channel on why poor countries remain poor and underdeveloped. So you may look at that, you will find it relevant. So there can be change, there can be development without change. I did a video also on sociology of development. So if you go to understand development, then you must understand change. Development is a consequence of change. And there are different theoretical perspectives to understand social change. And so you can look at the conflict perspective, you can look at functionalist perspective, and you can look at all of this. And you can do institutional analysis, social institutions, the family, the education, the religion, the economy, even the political, even now social media, even now peer group, even now earth. If you look at all these institutions, we'll be able to understand why why a country is moving towards a particular direction. So within social change concept, social change and understanding social change, historical perspectives are very important. How our societies moved over time, and also comparative analysis very important. Comparing one country or one society to the other, not because we want to draw judgment, but because we want to understand what has happened in those society that has not happened in this society, and why is this country or society this way and this one that way. You can easily mention, you can even easily understand this by looking at the situation between, China, and for example, United States or United Kingdom. Their development trajectories in terms of process and even in terms of time. It has taken China less in terms of time to reach the current situation compared to the United Kingdom or even the United States. So we can draw this parallel so that we can understand the dimension of change. And when you look at all of this, we also look at the concepts like modernization in understanding change. You also look at the concept like social problems, because when you look at social problems, one of the reasons you may have some new and established problems, maybe on account of social change, how that society is changing. So you can't manage social problems effectively without understanding the drivers, the causes, the patterns of change. So you see why social change is very important now. Social change is just it's like an anchor. It's like an anchor through which you can understand even social problems. So yet many people take social change for granted. So most of the problems we deal with in societies today are consequences of social change, and it's very important for us to be able to understand all the dimension of this change and what are causing them. So let me talk about now triggers or drivers of change. You may talk about diffusion movement of cultural elements from another society from one society to another. Both of them coexisting. So diffusion maybe. So that gives us hybrid culture. If you look at that, if you view that my video on culture, you will be able to understand this more. It can also be because of acculturation, where you have cultures coming in contact and one becoming more dominant. This cultural diffusion and acculturation definitely can affect how societies change and their consequences. Then you have endogenous, generally speaking, endogenous and exogenous factors. Diffusion and acculturation are exogenous factors. These are factors that are external to that particular society. But there are also internal factors, can be conflict within a particular society. Conflict and crisis within the society. That is endogenous, internal factors. If you have war, movements, social movements, and rebellion and the rest of them, you may have social change. Then if you have, for example, demographic change, I did a video on demography and population studies as an area of specialization in sociology. If you watch that, you will understand what I mean by demographic change. The birth rate, how is the population changing, the birth rate, the death rate, the migration, how are people moving around in and out of that society, and what is their labor process. So this, are they having more women than men in that society? That will also give us an idea of how that society is changing. So you have cultural change, you even have technological innovations, you have even economic processes can also tell us what is going on. Social movements, example of social movement, can be maybe, like I said before, can be equality movements where people are demanding more equality, or you can have protests and the set of them. And this intensification of digital platforms, social media. Now we talk about virtual meetings. It's a change, it's a social change, if you like. Instead of traveling up and down, people now do their meetings, social media. So people, even in terms of socialization, I did another video on socialization processes on this channel. What socialize, now the way people socialize their children, or how people are socialized now, those ways have shifted compared to previously. You also have all of this. You have the issue of abolition of transatlantic slave trade. This is an example of serious social change. The LGBT movements, LGBT plus, LGBTQ movement, LGBTQ plus movement, depending on how you are looking at it actually. So you have all this gender equality, increased child rights, green revolution, increasing gender equality, and the rest of that. So you have all of this, and there are consequences for all of this. Even voting processes from male suffrage to universal adult suffrage, and a lot of all of this and all these cases I'm mentioning can be drivers or at the same time of social change. At the same time can be consequences of a social change. And social change is very important for us to pay attention to. Like I said earlier, it is the process of development. So why is social change very important? It is the process to tell you how development may happen. You can project development outcomes and trajectories of communities. Then you can also understand social problems better and the solutions to those social problems and the implication of this for human behavior and society. If you understand social change very well, you'll be able to project human behavior. At the same time, the implication of the change on society. Equality, more than before, now more than ever before, there's increasing equality and the consciousness of gender equality, in society. I did the video on gender and society. If you want, kindly view that video. You will see the issue of gender equality and the rest of them, the rights, the human rights and child rights issues, the issue of environmental justice, especially within the confines of social change. Especially the climate change issue is a social change issue. It's because of people change the way they behave and how they use energy and some other things, and how they drive development in an unsustainable manner. That's why we are having climate change. And that's why it's been difficult to address the issue of climate change, because it has to do with human behavior. And human behavior is very difficult to change. You now have more accountable government, empowerment of the people, and even you understand social change, you are able to do root cause analysis and understand problems from the root, and you have empowerment of citizens and sustainable development, because people can then ask questions. But for social change to happen and not have negative consequences, everybody must ask questions, like I'm trying to sensitize you now in this video. You must ask questions. What is changing? How is it changing? Why is it changing? What are the consequences of the change? We have three types of change. Like I said earlier, you have change that is progressive in terms of improvement. You have change that declines. Social change can lead to can be decline, it can be progress, and it can be cyclic. In the sense that you have motion without movement. You change, you return to the same spot. That happens a lot of time. That's a cyclic approach. Then you can have change that decline, in which case some values of society, or some situation society decline, and you can have social change that is progressive. But if you don't take time to understand, to study the change, that social change happening in that society, how do you know whether it's progressing or decreasing, or you have a societal decline or a cyclic movement? And when you then have your time to understand this style, then you are able to now say, okay, this is what is happening, and these are the consequences, these are the benefits, and how do we address this? So this is very important. So for social change to happen and be optimized for the advantage of everybody, it is very important to ask questions, you study the change, and also you act in an intentional manner depending on your interest. Then you sustain your intervention, your study, and then you are able to persevere. We need to persevere in the context of the change, and this is very important. Social perseverance, and also we continue to engage. Thank you very much for this. Social change is a course I love so much because it also has to do with development and human behavior. Thank you very much. Kindly subscribe to this channel. Tell others. Comment, like, and share. Until I see you in my next video, be your best.